An interesting team featuring a lot of several unique picks that had Hisui Typhlosion, Aqua Tauros, the Tsareena and Dragapult was able to get top 16 in a 6,000 player online tournament. We're going to be trying out that team and seeing how well it can perform. This is Justin Tang's recreation of a team that was able to get top 16 in the biggest online tournament of all time. And we are going to be trying it out and seeing how well it goes. But first, let's break down the team. So first Pokemon up is going to be the Focus Sash Whimsicott, which is able to live any one strong hit and then hopefully be able to do a bunch of disruption with Tailwind as the speed control. Sunny Day going to be able to set up the sun and pretty nice for the Hisui Typhlosion's damage output. Moonblast, which is going to be a strong fairy type move, and then Encore, such a disruptive move that is able to lock in the opponent to the last move that they used. This Whimsicott does have Prankster, which gives it a +1 priority to any of its non-attacking moves, and we have a pretty simple EV spread of just max special attack and max speed because that's all you really want on this Whimsicott with Timid, so you are able to outspeed the Garchomp's, the Eternal Floettes, and more. Just a really strong priority Tailwind setter, which is very disruptive and can actually do some decent damage, especially paired with the Mega Evolution on this team. And that Mega Evolution is going to be the Eternal Floette, which is such a strong Mega Evolution. It's one of the brand new ones from Legend ZA. Super powerful with the Fairy Aura when it does decide to Mega Evolve, which of course increases the power of all Fairy type moves on the fields when the user is out. So it's able to threaten a lot of damage, especially super high base special attack stat of 154 with Fairy Aura. Absolutely absurd damage output, especially with its special attacks with Moonblast, Thousand Gleam, and Light of Ruin, which is a very powerful base 140 special fairy move with recoil as the downside to it, and I guess that it can also miss. The EV spread, pretty simple on the Eternal Floette. Since you have Light of Ruin, you are just going for damage, and you don't really care about bulk because you take so much recoil. You're just going with max special attack and max speed for the damage output, and the rest into HP and defense. And Flower Veil, I guess, is kind of a cool ability on base Floette because it does prevent grass type allies from being affected by stat drops as well as status conditions. So that could be nice for the Whimsicott, I suppose, but really this Floette is just here to get knockouts. Next Pokemon we have is one we don't see too much anymore of, but it is going to be Dragapult, a Pokemon with a base 142 speed stat and some pretty okay attack stats. 120 and 100 are pretty good for its attack and special attack. Its bulk, not the greatest, it's like base 75s around the board. So it is a mon that is pretty solid because it's very fast. However, Dragapult usually prefers offensive items, and there aren't really many offensive items in this format. In fact, this one's actually going to be holding the Cobra Berry because of stuff like Sucker Punch King Gambit that is super threatening to Dragapult in general. But why Dragapult on this team? The idea here is since you are running double fairies, you're really weak to Sneasler. So you need a really good Sneasler answer, and this Dragapult does have a Tech 4 Sneasler, and that's going to be the Psychic Fangs, which is a Psychic type move that can play around screens as well, which is actually pretty nice. But Psychic Fangs, of course, being able to hit the Sneaslers for 4 times super effective and knock it out in most cases, other than like Focus Sash ones, is pretty good, especially since a lot of them do run the White Herb set. So that is really nice there. And then Dragon Darts, spread dragon type move, Sucker Punch, which does have priority to help out against like Basky Legion, which can be nice. It's pretty effective there. The EV spread is just going to be a simple max speed, max attack, so you're able to outspeed the base 135s and more, and then the rest into HP. And then Clear Body, of course, going to be the ability of choice, which is able to prevent the Dragapult from getting affected by stat drops. Think of like the Icy Wind speed drops, as well as Intimidate from Incineroar and Tauros. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Queenly Majesty Miracle Seed Tsareena. So Miracle Seed powering up its grass type moves with Queenly Majesty, a fantastic ability on hyper offensive teams because it does prevent the opponent from using priority moves against your side of the field. So that's really effective, especially like Fake Outs or Aqua Jet, Sucker Punch, and more. Can be really nice for allowing your frail attackers to not worry about getting knocked out potentially. So this Tsareena is going to be pretty nice at stopping those priority moves and allows for some support with Helping Hand, which is pretty great as a way to boost up the damage output of your ally. Triple Axle, which is amazing into stuff like Focus Sash Aerodactyl, a Garchomp, the Dragonites in the format because it goes through multi-scale, and it is a move that is inaccurate. It's 90 accurate, and it checks accuracy for each hit, unlike just checking the initial accuracy for the first hit. But yeah, it does check all that, so you could miss, like, even if you hit one, you're not guaranteed to hit all three. So that's a big one here. Power, which is a really strong grass type move, and with the Miracle Seed, you're able to threaten like knockouts into some Tyrannitars, Rotom Wash, and more. So that power can be very nice. And then the EV spread here, we have a really good amount of bulk on the Tsareena with 30 in the stat point. You still have some speed on the Tsareena because under Tailwind you want to outspeed like Scarf Basket Legion. So this is able to outspeed Scarf Basket Legion, and I think it's 1 point above that for some speed creeping. You still need a good amount of attack because you want the Power Whip to be able to threaten like a lot of damage, especially triple axle into like some of the ice weeks in the format. And then the rest going to go into defense and special defense. Tsareena going to be more of a support Pokemon. Hopefully just stick around the field. I think this can live Dire Claw from Sneasler with the EV spread of the HP and the defense investment. And then just fire off, again, Power Whip, Triple Axle, prevent the priority by just sticking around, and then helping hand support to help blow up your opponent's team. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Hisui Typhlosion, which is a Pokemon we haven't seen too much of in this format. And we are going to be running the Choice Scarf to help speed up the Typhlosion because you want to be able to outspeed your opponent and go for those fast eruptions. Really powerful spread fire type move. It also has access to Heat Wave and Overheat if you aren't able to go for eruption if you've been weakened already. And then Shadow Ball, a nice strong ghost type move. The original team did have access to the Blaze ability, which is able to power up your fire type moves if you're a low HP on the Typhlosion. But for this video, I thought since we're playing the ladder and this team was originally using an open team sheet setting, I'm going to be running Frisk just so I could scout items, because being able to scout items in Battle Stadium closed team sheet really valuable because it allows me to plan ahead of time. So very nice change here, which is the only change that I am really making for this team. And then the EV spread wise, simple, just max speed, max special attack. You are able to outspeed the Choice Scarf Basket Legions. You're able to outspeed Choice Scarf Gardevoir and just threaten heavy damage by maximizing its damage output. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Water Tauros, and this is going to be holding the Mystic Water to power up its water type moves. Intimidate is just a great ability, especially when you have a bunch of frail attackers in general, and Water Tauros is pretty nice. It's great to switch into King Gambit as well as Basket Legion. And even if you give the Defiant to the King Gambit, at least you threaten it with the close combat, and you do resist the water type moves from the Basket Legion, which can be nice to have an actual pivot into Basket Legion. So the EV spread on this Tauros, it is going to be enough speed to be able to outspeed Adamant Excadrill. So that is nice. You're able to outspeed Adamant Excadrill, especially because you could go for Tailwind and then you can match like Sandrush Excadrill, or you can get rid of the Weather. So that could be very nice. The maximum attack so you can get some damage output, and then a bit into HP for just general bulk. This Tauros is nice to be able to, again, kind of slow down the pacing, but still be pretty offensive because the water and the fighting coverage is actually pretty nice, as well as the priority on the Aqua Jet. And of course, Intimidate is a great tool to help out with the Floette, the Hisui Typhlosion, and just the team doesn't exactly appreciate physical attackers, so having a way to slow them down to survive so you can get multiple hits can be very much appreciated. So how to use the team? Well, a lot of the team is just about brute offense. You're trying to get knockouts with these fast feral Pokemon before your opponent is able to KO you themselves. So we have the Whimsicott, which generally will lead for the speed control, has access to that Tailwind, so it enables your Floette, your Typhlosion, and your other Pokemon to outspeed and get those KOs, especially with the Sunny Day option with the Whimsicott for the Hisui Typhlosion, and of course with the Fairy from Floette, the Moonblast from Whimsicott will actually hurt. So you could go for like double Moonblast, or you could go for Tailwind immediately to set up speed control and really pressure with that Eternal Floette. Other elites you can go for, of course, if you're going with a bit more of a way to break through, like some of the slower teams, especially the trigger ones. Tsareena with Queenly Majesty is pretty nice because you could go for like Tsareena plus Typhlosion, or Tsareena plus the Floette, because you could go for a helping hand and try to blow things up with your Typhlosion and your Floette. If they try to go for like a fake out plus like Trickery Mango, for instance, yeah, you're able to shut that down, which is pretty nice. You can also lead Tauros for Intimidate, which is pretty effective. Dragapult can lead especially into more of the Sneasler teams because you do want to threaten them with Sega Fangs, which can be effective here. And yeah, there's quite a few different ways you can lead with the team. You could even go with Floette and Typhlosion just for maximum damage output, but I'd say Whimsicott or Tsareena are generally going to be your leads of choice, one of the two, so you can power up with heavy damage from the others. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, as well as the person who created the replica that we're using, you could go check it out down below description. And of course, make sure you can grab the replica code as well as the EVs on screen if the code is unavailable. But otherwise, let's get started and play some games and see how well this team performs. I've heard quite a bit from the recreator that this team might not have a Charizard Y matchup. We'll see if that's true or not. All right, we have the Pelipper, Archaludon, Incineroar, Basculegion, Gardevoir, and Maushold. So this is actually pretty good. I think we're in a pretty good position for the most part, matchup-wise, because Whimsicott plus Floette, they do not have a Fairy Resist at all, and I mean at all. So I think Whimsicott plus Floette is really solid here. The question is, what am I going in the back? I could go, I think I bring, did I bring Tsareena? I think Tsareena's okay. It's not like necessary though. Dragapult is okay for Sucker Punch angle. Dealing with the Archaludon's a little bit rough if I don't position it well. Do I bring the Tauros? It's like okay. I just don't really have a great Pelipper answer without the fairies. I'm just worried about like if my lead takes too much damage, which realistically it generally does. I think I still bring Typhlosion Tauros in the back because I can still awkward. I want a way to always like threaten the Incineroar that isn't just like Light of Ruin, because that would do way too much recoil to myself, and I might have to Light of Ruin the Gardevoir anyway. I don't think Tsareena's that great here because it only really stops one priority mon and only deals okay into Basculegion. We see Gardevoir Maushold, which is not too surprising as I do lead the Eternal Floette plus the Whimsicott. They get Flower Veil, which doesn't transform anything. Prankster probably didn't do anything either. I think my best play here is just to go for a Moonblast Dazzling Gleam here. Yeah, it's just to go for Moonblast Dazzling Gleam. I might regret not bringing Tsareena in, depending on if they have instant, I suppose. Actually, I just go for Moonblast plus a... Did I just Dazzle in regular form? No, I think I have to double up the Maushold. Yeah, I have to double up the Maushold. I need to get rid of Maushold on the field. I think, unfortunately, this is still probably likely it's Super Fang plus Trick Room, and I'm trying to figure out how I beat that. I guess, like, if they Hyper Voice, it's not too bad, but we'll find out. Like, if they follow me, it's obviously super ideal, but I don't think they have a reason to really click follow me. I guess unless they're worried about Fake Tears Whimsicott, because then I could Fake Tears plus Light of Ruin. So I guess it kind of depends on what my opponent thinks is better between Follow Me and Super Fang here. They could Protect, but I don't think Protect is really necessary here. We'll see. They go for Feint. Okay, this works out better for me because I do get the Moonblast Dazzling Gleam off and I get rid of the Maushold immediately, which is nice. Okay. So here's a Dazzling Gleam. Good damage to Maushold, and if they fainted, that means they are going to go for attack with Gardevoir. There's really no reason not to. Yeah, they go for Hyper Voice. So probably wasn't Super Fang on the mouse. I still take a bunch of damage, but it's still acceptable. All right. What's coming in? Is it Basque? Is it Pelipper? Why Pelipper? Okay. My Floette was faster than the Gardevoir. The Gleam did a lot of damage. Can I just Moonblast and double Moonblast here? Because that Gleam did so much that I could see Moonblast just KOing the Gardevoir. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. They Protect, which is fine. I could still threaten Encore, so let's see what the Pelipper does. If it knocks out Whimsicott, that's fine. I could just go out into my Typhlosion and click Scarf Shadow Ball plus Moonblast. They are Citrus Berry Pelipper. Okay, not great. As we do go for a Moonblast into the Gardevoir. And they go for Weather Ball into the Flood. Okay. Alright. Should still be pretty alright. Yeah, I'm like pretty sure this is okay. I'm gonna go out into my Typhlosion. Because I can threaten Sunny Day plus Shadow Ball now. And that should be pretty good. I could go for Eruption. I don't even know if that would knock out Gardevoir. It probably does, I assume. Shadow Ball doesn't knock out the Pelipper. They could have Wide Guard on the Pelipper, which is why I'm hesitating on going for anything else. I'm just going to go for Sunny Day. Sunny Day Shadow Ball should be pretty good because then their Pelipper does not beat my Typhlosion. So I'm going to go for Sunny Day and Shadow Ball the Gardevoir. And if Shadow Ball doesn't KO Gardevoir, I'd be very shocked because this is max special attack Typhlosion, but we'll figure it out. The idea here is to prevent Pelipper from being able to do any damage to Typhlosion. So I can get the KO and the Gardevoir and then be in a good position against Bask in the endgame. Because if they Tailwind with Pelipper, I can match the Tailwind, which is fine. Oh, Vacuum Wave. Wait, this could be bad. Okay, Vacuum Wave Gardevoir. I keep forgetting it gets that move now. Shadow Ball. It does KO Gardevoir. So yeah, it's like a super frail Gardevoir, I'm like pretty sure. And then this is Weather Ball. Okay, that's actually best case. All right, I still probably have to gamble, but I think that this is a pretty decent gamble in my favor. So I get to go out in a Tauros, as it's probably back Basket Legion. If it's our Chaladon, we're in a really commanding shape though. Okay, it is our Chaladon. So I could have clicked like Eruption or something, but this is still pretty good. Okay. I'm just going to Wave Crash the Pelipper, and I'm going to go for Shadow Ball on the Pelipper. Because Pelipper, unironically, is the biggest threat. If our Chaladon unable to use Electric Shot, it can't knock out either of my Pokemon here. And I go for Wave Crash because I don't want to lower my defenses against our Chaladon. And Shadow Ball plus Wave Crash, even in Sun, should be enough to deal with Pelipper, I imagine. So, no Protects. We do get Shadow Ball off. Oh, I actually just KO Pelipper, which, is that better for me? No, because they get the stamina boost. But granted, like, they still can't do enough damage to me, so I guess that's acceptable. Wave Crash. I actually did good damage to our Chaladon. For a Sun Wave Crash, that actually did a decent amount. They go for Draco into Typhlosion, okay. Is this KO? Yeah, I was, like, kind of iffy on that, because I was like, Typhlosion has okay Spadef, but now I just guarantee win off that. Because now I can go for Close Combat plus Shadow Ball, and I'm doing way too much damage. Like, even though our Chaladon's going to be a +2 defense thanks to Stamina, as they're going to protect to get Leftovers recovery. Yep, that's fine. Because I'm just doing way too much with Shadow Ball. They have to go for another attack in Typhlosion. And even if I'm dropping my defenses on Tauros, they still can't KO. And I'm pretty sure a Shadow Ball into 2 close combat should get the Arch, but then again, maybe Arch is just that insane of a Pokemon. Like, it wouldn't color me shocked, but we will go for a Shadow Ball and a close combat. Shadow Ball should do like, what, 30, 35, depending on the spread. And then close combat should be doing like 40%. Maybe it'll be close, actually. Oh no, I'm doing like 45. Okay, so it's not like super Spadef our Chaladon, so I should have this sealed. Because close combat should do a good amount. Yeah, like I was low rolling on bulky Archaladon. That's what I was potentially debating about if it was bulky Archaladon. Now I should win, even with like Leftovers recovery stacking up. It should be all right. They also go for Draco Meteor again, which I don't know why you would Draco in that position, because your Leftovers Archaladon, we know that. Like, do you not have Aura? Oh, maybe it's Aura Spear actually. If it's Aura Spear, they can only Draco my Typhlosion, because if it's Electric Shot, they have to charge up a turn, which means they lose anyway. And if it's Aura Spear, they just can't touch. Yeah, like, they forfeit, kind of realizing. I mean, I think you could hope for, like, double protect, get the Leftovers recovery, and then crit the Draco Meteor. I think that's maybe possible, but yeah, it was looking rough. All right, we have Pelipper, Archaladon, Basket Legion, Sinistra with Manectric, and Sneasler. So there's only one potential Mega on my opponent's team, and that's going to be the Mega Manectric, which is a pretty interesting one here. Okay, Mega Manectric. Fascinating. They don't have good answers to Typhlosion under Sun, so that's probably going to be the play here. Also, Eternal Floette's incredible as well. How do I set this up for my best possible outcome? I actually think it's Dragapult lead, because I think the only lead that they could really have is Sneasler. Because if they don't lead Sneasler, I think they struggle a lot into my team in general. So I'm actually going to lead Dragapult plus... Do I want to lead Dragapult plus Floette? I think Dragapult plus Floette's fine. I guess if they lead Bask could be annoying, but I think it's playable still. And then do endgame Typhlosion Whimsicott. You might be thinking, why don't I just lead off Typhlosion Whimsicott? I'm like, how do they break through Scarf Typhlosion with Sunny Day Whims. And like the only really answer I could come up with is like a sneeze or fake out situation. So that's what I'm assuming here, but let's find out. Okay, no, it's Manectric Archaludon. Wait, this just lost to Floette lead. Okay, very interesting start. I don't see why I wouldn't just go out into Whimsicott. This also lost to Typhlosion Whimsicott. Wait, what is this lead? Are they just hoping I'm not Scarf? I'm gonna just protect the Floette and just hard swap to Whimsicott here. On Snarl Flash Cannon, I suppose? This is a Mega Manectric, which is not too surprising here. Do I Light of Ruin to Archaludon, or do I just Moonblast the upcoming turns? That's a good question. It's actually funny that I prevent my Whimsicott from getting intimidated with Flower Veil. But okay, we will go for the Protect. Snarl comes out from the Manectric, which is not too surprising. Okay. And Dragon Pulse. Okay. Into Whims. Perfect. All right, so actually, wait, they Dragon Pulsed. I can just Encore. I can just Encore the Archaludon. Why don't I just Encore and Dazzling Gleam? Because then I could just Tailwind Dazzling Gleam again. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. They could Volt Switch and switch out Archaludon, but they stay in for Archaludon, so this is a perfect case scenario. I get to Encore, I get to Dazzling Gleam, they don't get to do much damage, then I get a free Tailwind up. Yeah, like, I do not see how I'm not in a great spot here. Okay. As we get an Encore off into the Archaludon. Snarl coming out. But that is completely fine as we do get a Dazzling Gleam off. This should still do a lot of damage. Yeah, it does way too much. And Dragon Pulse again. Now the question is, do I want to go for... I think I just Tailwind up here, right? They are probably forced to switch Arch, but they switch Arch out, they lose a lot of momentum. I guess I could go Sinistra, which is fine. I'm just going to go for Tailwind, and I'm going to go for a Moonblast into the Manectric. I was okay with accepting the Snarl to make the Archaludon useless because, as you saw, my flow didn't take much damage. My Whimsicott Sash was already broken, so it's just my best play is just to go for Moonblast into Manectric now. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. The question is, what is my opponent going to do afterward? Because that is going to be a big one. I'm trying to figure out how do they even set this up. Archaludon's forced to switch, and if they stay in, like, I'm okay with it staying in. It's not doing much. So they risk Pelipper maybe? Yeah. So I get a Tailwind plus Moonblast off, which is really good for me. And then next turn I can Sunny Day Light of Ruin. So I do get Tailwind up, so Floette is faster than Manectric now, and we go for a Moonblast, and we KO the Mega Manectric. So Mega Manectric is gone. All right. Great. And now what are they bringing out? Archaludon. All right. Do I need Sun Up? It's helpful. I could also just double Moonblast here, which would KO the Pelipper. I could also Light of Ruin the Archaludon. Or double Moonblast the Archaludon also works because I do KO the Archaludon. Actually, maybe it is just to go for the KO and Archaludon. Because then they have a really tough time of being Dragapult next to Floette. Yeah, I'm just going to double Moonblast the Arch. I don't think they can really afford to protect Arch. I mean, it's kind of weird. I think it's more likely I double up the Pelipper, so they might protect Pelipper. But they don't protect either, which works out for me because I do get Moonblast off. This is Fairy or a Moonblast. And yeah, if I'm doing that much with Whimsicott, I'm definitely doing like a KO with the Eternal Floette. So Moonblast going to come out into the Archaludon, take the knockout. Beautiful, so I don't have to worry about Arch. And then Pelipper, are you going to go for Hurricane or are you going to go for Tailwind? Either way, it's fine. You kind of lost the speed advantage. Yeah, Tailwind comes out, but I can go for Sunny Day now, which is really good for me. Okay, this is probably Basque. Yeah, they forfeit because they kind of realize, okay, they're in such a rough spot at this point. It's like really unlikely they could come back, so beautiful. All right, we have Garchomp, Sneasler, Dragonite, Kingambit, Volcarona, and Basque Legion. Very interesting team. Okay. They do not like Eternal Floette whatsoever. Eternal Floette is pretty good into them. I am a huge fan of Dragapult here. I also like Tsareena and Whimsicott because they actually don't have the best answers to Tsareena and Whimsicott. Oh man, this is tough. There's a lot of options I can have. I don't think I need the Typhlosion. Eruption doesn't sweep this game when they have 3 resists. Tauros is not bad here, but it's not necessary. I think Dragapult is pretty good. I think Floette's pretty good. I guess like the only concern is if I bring Tsareena, Whimsicott, Floette, and Dragapult, I'm very weak to the Volcarona. I think it's playable, but that's not super ideal. I wonder which mon has Tailwind, whether it's Dragonite or Volcarona. I could see it being support Volcarona on this team. I think my best lead, probably Whimsicott Floette. I mean, Whimsicott Floette's a decent lead here. And then have Tsareena plus the Dragapult back. I will try to get Tailwind up this game. If I can get Tailwind up, I'm just able to click Dazzling Gleam for no consequence. If they lead Sneasler, I'm going to Heart Swap probably Whimsicott into Dragapult on a Fake Out or Dire Claw. So it should be alright. Let's see. Sneasler Dragonite, that's fine. As we lead Whimsicott Floette. I feel like this is a pretty good lead depending on what they decide to go for. I could go for Tailwind Moonblast into the Sneasler as well, which is also a reasonable play. It could be Sash though. Tailwind Protect is not too bad either. I don't think they have a way to knock out Whimsicott with Dragonite. You know what? I'm going to Tailwind and I'm going to Protect. I don't think this is a bad play because I have a line next turn if they Fake Out Tailwind, which is acceptable. I guess if they Dire Claw Extreme Speed my Whims, it's not like that great, but even then, then what I would just do is just go out into Tsareena. I click Dazzling Gleam plus Triple Axle and I'd be fine, right? So we do see it is going to be Mega Dragon, or I go Dragapult and just click Dragon Darts, which would also make sense. So Mega Dragonite, I completely forgot about which Mega Evolution it would be. Dragonite makes sense here. We're going to see Tailwind come out from the Whims. They probably just went for Dire Claw. Did they go for Tailwind on the Dragonite? Yep, Dire Claw, which is acceptable. Tailwind on Dragonite? Yeah, that's fine. I can go for Encore into the Dragonite and swap out into the Dragapult, which I think is pretty reasonable for me. So I'm going to go for Encore and a Dragonite. They might switch out, which is okay. I'm going to go on a Dragapult though. So I think this is an okay spot because then next turn I can go for like Dragon Darts Moonblast. I'd be in a pretty comfortable position. I could go for Psychic Fangs. I just don't know if this is Sash on the Sneasler. I'm also curious if this has Extreme Speed on the Dragonite, but we'll see. But yeah, Dragapult is super safe here. And Encore. And they stay in, which is beautiful because they are locked into that Tailwind now. So I don't really have to worry about the Dragonite for a bit. We do see Dire Claw does come out of Dragapult. Perfect. As a ghost type, I do resist. And we will be able to now threaten Dragon Darts plus Moonblast, which is pretty nice damage. They don't have a great switch. So I'm going to go for Moonblast into the Sneasler. And the question is, do I want to risk this being Sash? I don't hate the idea of risking it. But I think I'd rather... I think I'd rather Dragon Darts. No, I'd rather Dragon Darts, actually. Yeah, I'm going to Dragon Darts. Because I really don't want to play around Sash, and if they Protect, I get to at least get Dragon Darts damage into something. Garchomp coming in, which is nice. Do they Protect? No Protect, so I do get Dragon Darts damage off, which is beautiful. Okay, really nice damage. Moonblast won't KO the Sneasler, but that's acceptable. It is Adamant on the Sneasler. Did they Close Combat, or did they Dire Claw? I think Close Combat makes sense, but we'll see. Oh, it's Citrus Berry. I could just Psychic Fanged. Unfortunate. Dire Claw. Into the Whims. Is this Scarf Garchomp? The game could have become, unfortunately, a dire situation. Oh, wait, what? It's Leftovers? Huh? It's Leftovers? Unfortunately, I don't have a switch to Dire Claw anymore. I think Whims plus Floette should be able to clean the game. I think my best play is probably to go Tsareena on the Dire Claw. And probably just to go for Psychic Fangs into the Sneasler. Leftover is Garchomp. Huh. Okay. Bring out the Tsareena as they go for a Dire Claw. Yep. Tsareena survives, which is clutch. Well, I opened my mouth too soon. I got punished for thinking that this could be Sash. I also didn't think it was Citrus, to be fair, but I guess I could have also Moonblast Special Attack Drop a White Herb Sneasler. The Sneasler goes down, and then this is Dragon Claw. Oh, that's such an unlucky poison, actually, because then next turn I could go for Tailwind Triple Axle and be in such a good spot. I still think Dazzling Gleam plus Moonblast is not a terrible position, but yeah, I could have been in a much better spot here. Also, the Garchomp took the Dragon Darts pretty well. I think it could be bulky. It might have some bulk. I think the question is A, who they have in the back, and B, is the Dragonite has extreme speed or not. I think that's what's gonna come down to. We bring out the Floette and the Whimsicott as they go Dragonite. I think my best play is just to Moonblast the Dragonite and go for a Dazzling Gleam. Because I just gotta hope the Floette's faster than the Garchomp at this point, I'm pretty sure, because I need to break the multi-skill on Dragonite. I guess I could Moonblast the Garchomp in Light of Ruin, the Dragonite, but I don't think that's worth. I also don't know Dragonite runs Timid or Modest in this format. So we'll see. Maybe Floette's faster. It could be the Dragonite. We'll see. But yeah, we will Moonblast the Dragonite. Hope to break the multi-scale on it. So Dazzling Gleam should finish it off. But the question is, who's the faster Pokemon? The Garchomp's faster. So I probably lose. So it's actually... Is that max speed Garchomp? I guess it could be admin speed tie. The damage looks like Jolly though. So it just might have leftovers for some reason. Okay. I do outspeed the Dragonite too, so Dazzling Gleam KOs the Dragonite and the Garchomp, but the last Pokemon probably beats me unless it's a weird Basket Legion or a King Gambit. Like, it has to be not Sash, basically. I assume it's Sash Basket Legion if it's Citrus Berry Sneasler. I mean, my best play here is to go for the Moonblast here into the Basque. I don't think I need to Light of Ruin to KO a Basque, but it should be Citrus or Sash. Oh, actually, Light of Ruin was the play. I do think it is probably Citrus, or not Citrus, Sash anyway. So I think, man, that poison's so unfortunate. Triple Axle Tailwind was so safe the next turn. Because I would have broken multi-skill on the Dragonite with Triple Axle and O-code it with Triple Axle. But I have to hit all the Triple Axles though. But it was way more doable. Alright, we have Scovillain, Basket Legion, Farigiraf, King Gambit, Sylveon, and Blastoise. So this is probably like Rain Dance, Farigiraf, Heart Trick Room? Seems very likely here. Okay. Actually, I think I'm pretty okay against this in general. Yes, they should be Scarf though on the Basque, which is a little bit concerning. Suddenly, if I Eruption with Typhlosion, I don't KO for Farigiraf with Sun boosted Eruption, unfortunately without a boosting item. So I think my line here is probably Tsareena plus the Floette, and then in the back, we're gonna have to stall out the Tailwind somehow. It's probably Tauros Whimsicott. Or is it even Whimsicott? Because like Encore doesn't help me here. Maybe it's just Dragapult so I can have Protects. Yeah. I don't have a Hyper Voice switching though. So if they get Trick Room up next to Sylveon, I'm just cooked regardless. Like I am legitimately just cooked regardless. I think turn 1 I'm gonna have to make a read on the Basque, which is gonna be kind of massive. Because I think their lead should be Basket Legion plus the Farigiraf. If they don't lead that, I'd be very shocked. Because I think it's probably Scarf Basque and you could threaten Wave Crash, but we'll see. Oh, Scovillain Basket Legion, interesting. Okay, I don't mind that. Because I lead Tsareena plus the turn of Floette. My Tsareena isn't that fast, but I guess the question is how fast is the Scovillain running? So I have a few different options. I could go Tauros and Protect, which isn't a terrible one. And I think that's probably my best angle here. Huh. This is a weird line here because I was not expecting Scovillain plus Bastly. Maybe they're just trying to set up for, maybe it's like what? For Farigiraf plus Sylveon back, I imagine. I'm just gonna get Tauros in, get my Intimidate into Basque. Tauros was only really as a pivot mon here for the most part, so I don't mind my pivot mons getting weakened if I can get rid of the Scovillain. So let's see here. We're gonna see the Mega Evolution from the Scovillain here. This is probably a fire move into the Tsareena plus Wave Crash. Oh, Helping Hand. They tried to cheese my Floette. Right. I gotta protect Power Whip too, but I don't think that was necessary. We do protect. This has to be Scarf if they're doing this play. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I'm glad I played very safe there. Now, I'm just gonna Wave Crash the Basculegion. And I'm just gonna Hard Swap to Dragapult. My only concern is if they go hard for Farigiraf for the Basculegion. I'm hoping that they just go for Helping Hand Wave Crash again, but they might decide not to do that anymore. If that's the case, that could get a little bit rough if they get Trick Room next to Sylveon. Because as I said before, Trick Room to Sylveon is pretty rough for this team. So we'll go out into Dragapult. Okay, they say into Wave Crash. That's pretty good for me. Okay. What did this Scovillain click? Overheat? Because we saw Helping Hand. We get a Wave Crash off into the Bass for some decent damage. They did Overheat. Wow, okay. Oh, I'm going to make such an aggressive play this turn, but if it doesn't work out, I look like a fool. I'm going to double out Floette and Tsareena, as I'm hoping they switch out the Basque into Farigiraf and maybe like Rage Powder with Scovillain, or they protect as well. That could also be a factor. But what I'm hoping for is that they realize, hey, I take in so much damage and it's not like trading Basculegion is that good for me. I'm hoping, hey, maybe I could get Trick 'em up with Farigiraf so I can get Sylveon in a good position. So I'm doubling out here, trying to pressure the Farigiraf. Because if I have no pressure against Farigiraf, I just lose. Yes, they do switch out Basculegion. This is Farigiraf. Yep. Okay, so I got that right. And then I imagine that this is Trick Room. Or not Trick Room, Rage, Protect or Rage Powder. I assume it's Rage Powder, but we'll see. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And now this is where it's going to get interesting, because I'm going to go for Dazzling Gleam and go for a big Power Whip, because Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam won't knock out Farigiraf. I think their only play is to go for Rage Powder plus Trick 'em in and hope they accomplish it. I'm going to hope that Miracle Seed Power Whip gets the Farigiraf after the Dazzling Gleam chip damage. And I hope I put it out of range of Citrus Berry if it's Citrus Berry. So that's my goal here. Going with the Mega Floette. This should be Rage Powder, because if I Light of Ruin, you just lose. Yep. All right. Dazzling Gleam Power Whip. Can this KO the Giraffe? This is really powerful Dazzling Gleam. Just out of Citrus range if it's Citrus. As I expected. Spicy Spray active, no big deal. And we hit the Power Whip. Does it KO? It does KO. Perfect. No Trick 'em up for my opponent. Sylveon does not destroy me under Trick Room now. Now it can only destroy me out of Trick Room, but with the speed advantage, a Power Whip plus Dazzling Gleam should KO. So they go Basque here first, which is fine. We're going to go out into Tauros, and we're just going to click Power Whip. So I think that's a pretty acceptable play here, because we get the Intimidate off once again. I could protect Tsareena, but I think it's okay with taking the Basculegion with me, potentially, which would be really nice here. So let's see. They go for Helping Hand Wave Crash because they're just hoping I mess up and that they're able to KO. Or maybe they Last Respect, but I don't think they KO Tsareena. They do Last Respect to Tsareena. I don't think this KOs. Yeah. It's only one boost. And I do hit another Power Up. So goodbye, Basculegion. That is a huge mon gone. And then next turn, I threaten Helping Hand Wave Crash for a KO. Beautiful. And they're going to forfeit because they realize, yeah, it's probably unlikely I'm able to win this game. So I kind of got like quite a few calls right, but I knew like how my opponent probably wanted to position that and kind of played against it. All right, we're going to see Charizard, Garchomp, the Rotom Wash, Eternal Floette, Incineroar, and Sinistcha. So this is kind of interesting. Okay, what am I leading here? I want to say it might be Tauros plus Dragapult. Oh, this is rough. I need to maximize my damage output into the Charizard because Charizard is the biggest threat. I don't know if they're bringing Rotom. I doubt it. I think they're probably bringing one of their Megas, Charizard or Floette. I think both are viable against me. They probably bring Incineroar. I think they should bring Sinistcha. And then last Pokemon, is it Garchomp or Rotom? I feel like it's Garchomp, so it deals better into Typhlosion. So the Sinistcha, if it has Trick Room, can set up Trick Room. But we'll see. I guess it could be Charizard X on this team as well, because Incineroar or Sinistcha. But I don't know if it's Charizard X or Charizard Y on this build. I feel like it's probably Charizard Y, but Incineroar or Sinistcha usually confirms like Charizard X builds. I think I'm doing Dragapult Tauros lead, and then I think in the back it's Floette plus... Do I not bring the Whims? I think I don't. I don't think I need it. Because the Tailwind pressure is nice, but it's not necessary. Let's see how this goes. Because Tailwind could be nice in some factors, especially for allowing Tauros to outspeed the Charizard guarantee, but I'm not 100% if it's needed. Incineroar Floette. Okay, so no Charizard is actually pretty decent for me. But this lead is not great. It's not great. All right. I mean, my best play here is to protect the Dragapult, and I guess we'll find out the item on the Incineroar by getting Typhlosion in. This is not a bad position, although if it's Calm Mind Floette, we are going to have some problems. And I guess, like, yeah, it's probably going to be Calm Mind Floette, and I think with Charizard Y then. So we shouldn't have to worry about the Charizard being brought most likely in this game. I will go for a switch with Tauros and go hard into my Typhlosion because we do resist the Dazzling Gleam if they decide, hey, I'm going to Dazzle immediately. And then next turn I could go for damage with Psychic Fangs plus Overheat. They could protect, but do I have a counterplay? Not really. Chopolinson, okay. So that means I should always Wave Crash, which is fine. We are going to see the Floette's Mega Evolve, and what are you going for? I just need damage into this Floette to put in range of my own Dazzling Gleam. That's kind of like the idea here. So they go for Dazzle, which is perfect. They might have Parting Shot, or maybe they doubled up the Dragapult, but I think this is probably Parting, which is acceptable. It's not great, but it's acceptable. Yeah, good play on their part. Okay. I could have swapped the other way, but I really want the Intimidate for later, especially because if it's Garchomp, it's kind of scary. Like Scarf Garchomp probably demolishes me here. Well, we'll find out if it's Scarf Garchomp or not. They can't Dragon Claw and Stomping though. I need the damage in the Floette though, that's the problem. I'm not really too worried about the Garchomp itself, I'm more worried about the Floette. I think my best play is just to double up the Floette still with Psychic Fangs plus Overheat and get as much damage as I possibly can into the Floette. Okay, they double out into Incineroar, which is fine. Yeah, because that doesn't really change much. This actually works out beautifully for me. So I don't think it's Scarf Garchomp. It could be, but I don't think it's too bad if it isn't. I'm able to get an Overheat off into the Floette for some pretty decent damage, I'd say. Yeah, like that's still pretty good damage for a -1 Overheat, and Psychic Fang should put this in range of Dazzling Gleam afterward. It's close, but I think that's pretty good. We're gonna see Dazzling Gleam come out and take the knockout on Dragapult, but as I said before, I needed the damage into the Floette. So because we don't have the best damage up in the Floette either, so we're gonna go out into my Floette now. And I guess I'm just gonna go for Protect and an Overheat. which is fine. If they go Sinistra, it's a bit weird. I think the last Pokemon probably has to be Sinistra. I guess I could go Sinistra and maybe I should punish with a Moonblast. But they're just going to fake out Dazzling Gleam, which is kind of what I expected as well. There's like 2 different lines that they could take, but yeah, that makes more sense to me. Fake out going to come out in a Floette as well as an Overheat into their Floette. Extra damage is extra damage. Beautiful. That will be in Gleam range guaranteed now, which is great. Calm Mind. Ooh, they played greedy here. Like really greedy. Okay. I'm going to go for Dazzling Gleam. And I'm going to hard swap into... Actually... Man, I think it's very likely that they go for Protect Parting Shot, because I think it's a super safe line to get Sinistra in. I kind of want to Light of Ruin. But if I Light of Ruin, I take way too much recoil. No, I can't do that. I have to go for a Dazzling Gleam here. Or a Moonblast, I guess, into Instant also works. Yeah, because if Instant can't switch in as easily, I think that's fine. I'm going to go Tauros and Moonblast the Instant. If I was them, I would Parting Shot the Floette and protect my Floette to get Sinistra in for Hospitality. So we'll see if they make that play. Otherwise, the safest play was the Dazzling Gleam. But I kind of really want Moonblast and the Dazzling Gleam to KO Instant, so they can't pivot around nearly as much in the later parts of this game. Fairy Aura. Yeah. That's the play I would make too, because I think it's the safest line that they have. So we do get a Moonblast off into the Instant, so this will do some pretty good damage. Yep. Parting Shot. Yeah, it's going to be a really close one, but we'll see. This is Sinistra. Yep. Exactly as I thought. I couldn't Light of Ruin because I just take too much recoil and then I probably lose to Garchomp, I'd say. Moonblast should KO the Floette, so I think they're forced to Rage Power. The question is, what am I doing with the Tauros? Probably protecting. It's still nowhere near easy, unfortunately. I could Dazzle twice if I expect him to Rage Powder, though. I think they should Rage Powder, but I don't know if Gleam twice is the play, because I don't even know if that would KO the Floette. Yeah, they Rage Powder. I should Dazzling Gleamed. Because the thing is, they also had a Mind Game of like Life Dew as well, potentially, but I guess I could have Wave Crash with Tauros if that's the case. We go for a Moonblast. We should get some decent damage off into Sinistra. Okay. Draining Kiss for the recovery. Okay. So it's Dazzling Gleam, Draining Kiss, which actually is not terrible for me. How fast do I think the Floette is? Because now I have a play of Light of Ruin, the Sinistra, and Wave Crash the Floette. I'm gonna go for it. The Floette has, if they're, yeah, they go Instant here, which is not too surprising to me. Oh, this is Protect then. Okay, but that's fine still. All right. I should have read this maybe. I got a little bit too happy with the Light of Ruin Wave Crash play. So I do KO the Instant, which is good. But I don't know if this is going to be too helpful. I do take a bit of recoil. And the next turn gets a little bit tricky because they're going to go Sinistra. Yeah. So I do have Light of Ruin Wave Crash available, but now I know I won't KO the Sinistra for or won't KO the Floette for sure. I guess my best play is just to Dazzling Gleam, because I don't think +1 Dazzling Gleam would KO my Floette and probably just go back to Typhlosion. Then I can still threaten the Light of Ruin Wave Crash the next turn. The problem is I think the Garchomp's still very problematic, but we'll see. Go on a Typhlosion on Rage Powder. Okay, Cobra Berry is interesting. Yeah, they always Rage Powder here. Because if I Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam Wave Crash, the Floette goes down. So I get some extra damage on the Floette. I close to KOing Sinistra as they go for Dazzling Gleam. That's going to KO my Typhlosion. Okay. I think it's going to come down to, can I beat the Garchomp? This is going to be super close for an end game. We go out of Tauros. We click Moonblast into Sinistra and Wave Crash. Even if they do the Garchomp, if they swap out Sisha to Garchomp to get Hospitality, it doesn't work out for them. So we go for a Moonblast because they don't get intimidated off in my Tauros, which is the big part. We go for Moonblast plus the Wave Crash. All right, it's a close one. It might be winnable, but it's still looking pretty dire. It is still looking pretty dire. I guess the thing is, though, if they protect Floette, they can't Earthquake with the Garchomp safely, I'd say. I don't know. It's still really tricky to beat the Garchomp. I imagine the Garchomp's faster than a Charizard, so I imagine that outspeeds my Floette. I took so much damage on Floette, but I kind of had to get up to even this point in the game. But we'll see. Because I think I needed the Dazzling Gleam damage. Okay, they protect Floette, so this gives me an opportunity, I suppose. So we KO this initial with Moonblast, then it's Garchomp in. But the Garchomp is locked in to an attack if it's Scarf. And if it's not Scarf, what are they doing to Floette? Clicking Rock Slide? I could go for Rock Slide Dodge, I suppose. And if they self-Earthquake, they probably knock out their own Floette. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't KO their own Floette. But I don't take much recoil from Wave Crash if that's the case. I either go for Wave Crash and a Floette or I Wave Crash crit the Garchomp, but I think I'm going to go for the Floette first. Because if Floette ever gets a Draining Kiss and a Tauros, it's GG. So I have to go for the Wave Crash again. I think it's going to come down to this Garchomp speed and like what its attacks are. Oh, it's a close one, but I think it still favored my opponent. Yeah, this is where Wims would have been handy because I could have Encored the Floette earlier. But I did like all the tools that I had because the Typhlosion got the damage. I guess Dragapult didn't do as much as I was hoping for, but... Oh, it's Rock Tomb. Okay. Oh, then my play was to Aqua Jet Dazzling Gleam. Didn't cover the Rock Tomb play, but that makes sense with Calm Mind Floette. Okay. And that is going to be the end. Unfortunate. I would have had to hard call the Rock Tomb and go for Aqua Jet plus Dazzling Gleam. Which, the thing is, I don't even think that wins me the game because I don't think Dazzling Gleam KOs the Garchomp. I guess I should find out if the Garchomp's faster, but if you're Rock Tomb, you should be fast, right? Like, you should be fast on the Garchomp. If you're not, I could go for a double crit Dazzling Gleam here because I don't think -1 Dazzling Gleam was KOing the Garchomp. Yeah. So I had to go for probably, I guess Moonblast in the Garchomp also won in Protect Tauros, but again, it's like more of a hard read there. So the Rock Tomb got me for sure, which I don't know if I could really play around without hard calling it, but it is technically possible. Alright, we have Talonflame, Garchomp, Basculegion, King Gambit, Sneasler, and Eternal Floette. So 2 potential Megas with Garchomp and Floette, but it should always be Mega Floette here. Okay, dealing with Talonflame is a little bit rough. Yeah, dealing with Talonflame is not easy. So I'm curious on what my lead should be because I need a good answer to the Floette, but are they leading Talon plus Garchomp? Probably not, because then if I lead Floette, they get screwed. So I feel like it's Talonflame plus either Sneasler, Basculegion, or Floette. And it depends on if the Basculegion is Scarf. If that is the case, I'd still probably want to lead Whimsicott plus the Floette. Yeah, I think I probably still lead it regardless. Back-wise, I'm probably just going to go with Typhlosion and Dragapult for the speed and the damage outputs. I think Tauros is okay, but it's not incredible, I'd say. Yeah, I think we'll see what happens, but I just don't think Tauros does anything other than Aqua Jets, which doesn't really do that much here. Intimidate's nice, but there's a Gambit. We do see Eternal Floette, Talonflame. Okay, that's not too surprising as I lead Whimsicott plus Floette. Curious on what their move is here. Talonflame should be faster than Whims. I think I could go. I think I have an idea of what I want to do. I think I'm going to go for Encore in the Talonflame, and I'm just going to go for a Dazzle. Yes. Because I want to break the Gale Wings on Talonflame. If they go for Tailwind with their Talonflame should move first generally. They get a Tailwind up, and then I get the Encore into Talonflame. And if they go for a flying type attack, then what happens is I can outspeed it, at least with Dragapult afterward, which is like a line, I suppose. My Floette is faster than theirs, so I wouldn't be surprised if mine is the faster Floette in general, but we'll see. Oh my goodness, they are Adamant Talonflame. This is still fine though. Yeah, this is still fine. It's obviously not ideal, but it's like playable. I go for Gleam. Okay. I wasted a turn. I could have Moonblasted the Floette. Crit on Whimsicott doesn't matter. Alright, they're Adamant Talonflame. We do get a Dazzling Gleam off here. I think it depends on the Talonflame has Feint. Because if they Feint, I lose. I crit the Talonflame. I don't think it really changes what my plan was here. I'm just going to Tailwind my Whimsicott now. Well, if they have Feint, I just lose. Like, realistically, I just lose if they have Feint. I'm going to protect my Floette because Talonflame should be faster than Floette still. So, hopefully they don't have Feint. I get the Tailwind up, and then I have speed advantage. Okay, nice. So I do get the Tailwind up. Massive. They go for Flare Blitz. Completely fine. And Gleam KOs my Whimsicott, but I have one extra turn of Tailwind that we're working with here, which is pretty massive. Okay, so even though it didn't work out, it's still alright, because at least I broke the Gale Wings on Talonflame, so they didn't have access to priority. I could have obviously got Moonblast damage into the Floette instead, or maybe a Moonblast as a Talonflame, so that could have worked as well. Or I could have got Sunny Day up, because now I won't be operating with Sunny Day, but I think it's acceptable. We now go Dragapult, and Dragapult's faster than Talonflame. We threaten Dragon Darts for some pretty heavy damage into anything, because it's 2 hits. So we're going to go for Dragon Darts. And we're going to go for Moonblast into the Floette. Because if they decide to play passive, then like they get punished for it. Especially with Talonflame having to potentially switch out or go down here. So this is perfect. We do get the Dragon Darts into Talonflame. We'll KO the Talonflame, so that's nice. So Talonflame gone. And let's see if we're still faster than their Eternal Float, because I am max speed and we've seen 2 speed interactions. Actually, we've only seen 1 speed interaction, but Moonblast is going to come out into the Float, and it does KO their Float. So I'm up 3-2, but this is nowhere near over. It depends heavily on their blast. If it's Basque, we'll see. Sneasler? Oh, is this Sneasler Basque? Basque. Okay. I need to find out if this is Scarf Basque. I think my best place is switch to protect the Dragapult and go out in a Typhlosion, because they're probably just going to go for Dire Claw plus Last Respect. I don't know what the items are here. So I need to figure out where the Sash is and if it's a Scarf. Because if it's Scarf, I have a pretty general safe line for the most part. But if it's Sash, it makes things tricky. So we're gonna switch out Floette into the Typhlosion and protect the Dragapult. White Herb on the Sneasler, Sash on the Basque Legion. Okay, good to know. So that means the Sneasler is always vulnerable to Psychic Fang. So I can go for Psychic Fangs just fine. Gunk Shot. Oh, I don't have to worry about Dire Claw stuff. Okay, cool. Nice. Perfect. Now it's still a 50 on... It's still kind of a 50 with Mind Games, because I can Psychic Fangs to Sneasler, but I could also double up the Basque. So there's no easy line, I suppose. If it was Scarf Basque, I could easily just Sucker Punch, Shadow Ball, and guarantee to win. Now it's just like, do I double up the Basque Legion or do I double up the Sneasler? I guess my play is always to Sucker Punch and Shadow Ball the Basque, because I think it's more likely they target down the Sneasler, but we'll see. I'm going to go for Shadow Ball plus Sucker. Okay, no Protect, so... Is this Jet? Okay, that's fair. I don't mind Typhlosion going down because Sneasler still can't beat Dragapult, which is fine. Yeah, if they're just gunk shotting, like, I'm still, like, way out of Aqua Jet range. Okay, no crit, no poison. We should be good. Because now we go on a Floette, we click Psychic Fangs into the Sneasler, and we have a max speed Eternal Floette that is faster than Sash Basculegion. So all we have to do is click Psychic Fangs into the Sneasler, and we click Moonblast. So unless Psychic Fangs is a KO Sneasler, which is a 4 times effective move, I'd be very shocked. And I guess we go for Dazzle because they would have to go for Gunk Shot and they would probably miss anyway. Well, if the thing is, if they're bulky with Sneasler, they might underspeed the Floette too. That's also a possibility, I suppose. But we'll see. I'm gonna go for a Psychic Fangs into a Dazzling Gleam. Because Dazzling Gleam KO Sash Basculegion at this range easily. So what is my opponent gonna do here? But yeah, finding out the items helped me in this end game, especially the White Herb. So I know it's not Sash Sneasler, so Psychic Fangs is pretty safe in that slot. And then because of that, an option with Basque had, like let's say they protected Sneasler and I Psychic Fangs the Sneasler and they last respect my Dragapult, I probably in a really rough spot because then they can threaten Gunk Shot into the Floette and my Typhlosion doesn't KO Basque in one hit. So they protect the Basque, but this is fine. Actually, yeah, it's still fine even if this somehow lives, but yeah, it does not live. So we get rid of the Sneasler. Okay, crit, but 4 times super effective Psychic Fangs, I'd be very shocked if that lived. Like, I'd be extremely shocked if that lived. Now I guarantee with Sucker Punch. They also have to hit like multiple Gunk Shots still regardless. They already hit 2 of them. Like, I just don't think it's bulky Caesar. Like, I don't think it's like that bulky of a Caesar that lives Psychic Fangs from it. So now I can just guarantee to win. I mean, I already win the game. I just click Dragon Darts plus Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast, and that guarantees. Did they literally just exit out of the game? I think they did. Okay. But huge. Or maybe it's just connection issues. But we go for Dragon Darts and we go for a Moonblast. Or I guess we could go for Doubt. Or no, we already revealed Moonblast, so we can go for Moonblast, yeah. I could also go for Sucker Punch, but there's not really a way for my opponent to win. Dragon Darts KOs to Basque, Moonblast KOs to Basque. They don't have a way to outspeed and threaten either of my Pokemon, so yeah. I mean, it does threaten the KO, but it does not threaten the outspeed and KO part. So there's not much that it could do. So yeah, I think even though turn 1 didn't work out, I had to risk afterward if the Talonflame had Feint, but a lot of them don't carry Feint realistically. A lot of them are just Protect, Flying type move, Fire move, and Tailwind for the most part. Because like without the Fire move, it's can be a little bit hard to beat like Corviknight and some of the steals. So I feel like they have to run the Fire on this kind of team. So yeah, like I was willing to gamble it, and even though it didn't work out, I mean, even though the turn 1 didn't work out, I still was able to win because next turn, because I got the Gleam damage, I could go for Moonblast or set up for a position for a double knockout. All right, we have Gengar, Tyranitar, Sableye, Hisui and Samurott, Basculegion, and King Gambit. Fascinating team. Tsareena actually really good against Sableye teams because we do have access to the Queenly Majesty, so they can Encore disable this team, and Power Up hits pretty hard against 4 out of the 6 members my opponent has, so that's pretty nice. Dealing with the Gengar, maybe a little bit tough, however, should be manageable. I think lead-wise, okay, it shouldn't be Sash Basculegion. Could be Mega Tyranitar, we don't know for a fact. I don't like Dragapult in this matchup. It's okay though. Whimsicott's decent, but I don't need the speed advantage because like all of their mons are pretty slow. Like I think it has to be like Scarf Basque probably. I think we go with like Typhlosion Tsareena, which I think is actually pretty good against my opponent's team. And then I think in the back, Tauros to help with the Tyranitar, and then Floette just for damage output. Dealing with the Gengar is probably the weirdest part about this team, but we should be all right. I'm kind of curious because I have no idea what to really expect from my opponent. It could be like Encore Disable with Sableye plus Mega Gengar trapping. I'm not exactly 100%, so we'll see. Very cool team though. Sableye Gengar, okay. Did I think this is a Rain Dance? Roselli Berry, Mega Gengar, okay. I don't see a problem with going for Helping Hand Shadow Ball immediately. They can't do anything with Sableye to my side of the field unless they have foul play, but a lot of them do drop foul play. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is bulky Mega Gengar. I guess it could be like Gravity Hypnosis But I outspeed with Typhlosion and the Scarf, and I KO with Helping Hand Shadow Ball, like if they're EV to survive. So Helping Hand will come out. They protect, but they're still getting threats in the next turn, which is fine. Wait, the Sableye didn't have an attacking move. What did you click? Oh my goodness, it actually is foul play, but that shouldn't KO Typhlosion. Yeah, okay. Alright. That's a rare one. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyranitar King Gambit comes out now. Or maybe Samurott. Okay. Awkward. Now it's a mind game between does Gengar stay in or does it switch out? I think it's more likely to switch out. Yep, into like one of the resists they have. King Gambit perfect. As I do go for the Shadow Ball plus Power Whip combination. That should KO Sableye. Oh, that did so much to Sableye actually. Wow. And I do connect. Okay. So we get rid of the Sableye. The Gengar is still kind of annoying, but they know I'm Scarf on the Typhlosion. This should be back to Gengar. It's just, do I switch out? If I switch out... Yeah, this is still nowhere near an easy game, but like it's playable, I suppose. I think we just Shadow Ball the Gengar, and I think I want to go for Power Whip into Gambit, so I put in range of maybe Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam. Yeah. Wait, they actually could have given me the Gengar. They thought I was going to switch the Typhlosion, but my Typhlosion is able to KO the Gengar. I felt like I could switch out, but the thing is nothing on my backside, like the, or nothing in the back switches into Sludge Bomb or Shadow Ball well. So I'm like, or Kowtow even. So I was like not risking it. That works out beautifully. They go for Kowtow. Yeah, they hard read me to switch to Typhlosion, which makes sense. I did debate about it, but at the same time, I feel like going to Tauros, giving them Defiant Boost is not great. But now they brought up Bask, which is really good for me actually, because now I can go for Shadow Ball into Bask. And do I Helping Hand? I do. Yes. Because if they're Scarf, they go down to Shadow Ball. They can't Sucker Punch because of Queening Majesty. So I KO the Basky Legion with Shadow Ball. And if they protect, we know it's not Scarf. So I think Floette plus King Gambit should win. Perfect. They go for Kowtow into Tsareena. It doesn't even KO Tsareena. Perfect. And now we go for a Shadow Ball into the Bask to break a Sash. And we're gonna go for another Power Whip actually, because now we know it's not Scarf Bask. I don't need to go for it, because yeah, if they go for a Double Protect and they get the Double Protect, I might as well get damage into the King Gambit to guarantee like Moonblast for sure. So might as well just go for that. Yep, as we get the Power Whip off. Beautiful. And now both Pokemon are just in range of Dazzling Gleam. We get a crit. I don't think it was really mattering for the long term, as they finally go and get rid of Tsareena. Tsareena goes down, but we will be able to win the game with our Floette here. So kind of an interesting mind game scenario. I really haven't seen Foul Play Sableye in so long. I've seen like multiple screens plus Encore with lights or Encore disable, but I guess like on this team you don't need weather control, so you can afford to run it here. I also could have seen Fake Out on the Sableye for some cases, or Gravity Hypnosis, but we are going to go out on the Floette. Floette just wins with Dazzling Gleam. We outspeed everything, and we click Shadow Ball plus Dazzling Gleam. Actually, I do outspeed. Yeah, I do outspeed the Bask. I just want to confirm I do, yeah. So we will go for the Dazzling Gleam. I mean, Floette also gets a speed boost when a Mega Evolve. So yeah, we go for Dazzling Gleam. Shadow Ball, me guarantee to win. So that is excellent. And even if I didn't crit the Gambit, let's say it like somehow survives the Dazzling Gleam at this point, you would just Shadow Ball Dazzling Gleam, because you either guarantee the KO on Bask and then Tauros just wins because they'd be forced to Aqua Jet, or you get the Dazzle plus damage off. But they do protect the Bask, which is fine, because like I still have Tauros Aqua Jet. Like Tauros Aqua Jet was just cleaning up this game. They really did not have much for it. So we'll go for the Dazzling Gleam into the Gambit. They're just hoping for a survival here, but like Gambit's not living that Dazzling Gleam at 32%, and even then. So Yeah, turn 1 didn't work out, but I mean, I had a feeling that the Typhlosion switch could have been obvious, but it's like the best play to cover for it anyway. Because if they play aggressive, it works out. They were down, and yeah, like I capitalized. So how was the team? I think the team has some really cool elements. Of course, there's a lot of unique Pokemon. The Dragapult, which of course does have that niche, being able to help out against the Sneasers, which is pretty nice. I love Aquatoros. I think it's really great. I think Hisui Typhlosion, it's not as strong as it used to be, especially without Terra and especially without Choice Specs. Having to run Choice Scarf, it's definitely a lot weaker, and you do definitely notice the power if you played like the Regulation H format, so a little bit underwhelming. Tsareena, I think, is a really good mon in this format just because priority blocking is really great. And of course, we were using Floette for the first time on the channel, and yeah, it's a really strong mon, what to say much about here. But do I think the team had a Charizard matchup, which is a question we asked ourselves at the beginning? I don't think it does. Unfortunately, I do think the team is pretty weak to some of the stuff in the format that's been developed, especially like Charizard Tailwind teams or just Charizard Y in general. Yeah, it's really hard to actually damage the Charizard because you don't have a way to do like over 50% to Charizard most likely other than Tauros, which against opposing Tailwind stuff, yeah, it can be really rough. I even think just opposing Floette stuff can be hard because you can't even damage it really without trading for a bunch because you don't also have a fairy resist other than Typhlosion, but Typhlosion doesn't really get that much damage in a turn of Floette because of its high special defense. So yeah, there's like quite a few weaknesses that I think this team does have, but I do think there are some pretty good elements out there that we did notice and we were able to see. Like the Tsareena was pretty effective. Typhlosion was able to be effective in some of the games. Eternal Floette plus Whimsicott, of course, is obviously broken, and Dragapult was able to do some things. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the recreation, as well as the person who made the replica code, they'll be down below in the description. And of course, you can subscribe for more VGC content. As always, why not check out one of my more other recent videos where we feature some really cool mods in the Regulation MA format.